Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, text number 23. Please repeat after me. Ya Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarta Na Sa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. Yah Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. Yah Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. Yah Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Yah Shastravidim Utsrijya Vartate Kamakarata Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Book. Anyone from ladies would like to?
Yashaspravidim Yet Srijya
Shastravidim Utsrijya
Vartate Kamakarataha
Vartate Kamakarata
Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti
Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti
Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Na Sukham Na Param Gatim.
Yeah. Anyone who Shastravidim, the regulations of the scriptures, Utsrijya, giving up, Vartate, remains, Kamakarata, acting whimsically, in lust, Na, never, Sa, he, Siddhim, perfection, Avapnoti, achieves, Na, never, Sukham, happiness, Na, never, Param, the supreme, Gatim, perfectional stage. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme destination. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As described before, the Shastra Vidhi or the direction of the Shastras is given to the different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed and desire, then he never will be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be considered the lowest of mankind. In the human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. But even if he follows the rules and regulations and moral principles and ultimately does not come to the stage of understanding the Supreme Lord, then all his knowledge becomes spoiled. And even if he accepts the existence of God, if he does not engage himself in the service of the Lord, his attempts are spoiled. Therefore, one should gradually raise himself to the platform of Krishna consciousness and devotional service. It is then and there that he can attain the highest perfection stage, not otherwise. The word Kamakarata is very significant. A person who knowingly violates the rules acts in lust. He knows that this is forbidden, but still he acts. This is called acting whimsically. He knows that this should be done, but still he does not do it. Therefore, it is called whimsical. Therefore, he is called whimsical. Such persons are destined to be condemned by the Supreme Lord. Such persons cannot have the perfection which is meant for human life. The human life is specially meant for purifying one's existence, and one who does not follow the rules and regulations cannot purify himself, nor can he attain the real stage of happiness. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-chalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamishya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathamritam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhamritamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. यह शास्त्र विदेन उत्सृज्य वर्तते कामकारता न सिद्धिं अवाप्नोति न सुखं न परां गतिम्. Please repeat after me. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So this is the one of the concluding verses from the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna elaborately described about the demonic nature. Because Krishna, He is the Supreme Lord, He knows the past, present and future. And He knows that demonic people keep inventing very logical and powerful arguments to propagate something that is not dharma, that is not in alliance with Krishna's wish or desire, which is not in alliance with the scriptural injunctions. Now, of course, we understand in our Krishna consciousness, in the practice of our Krishna consciousness, that there are many ideal principles which we should be following, right? But if a person, when he's not able to follow certain principles, and he thinks or he starts justifying what he's not able to follow as impractical, and it is not something that is really required, then he falls in this category, what Krishna is describing in this verse. For example, Srila Prabhupada explains that what is the ideal standard of sex life? Ideal standard of sex life is that husband and wife, they unite only for the purpose of procreation, just to have children, and that too only once a month, not more than once a month. Now it's of course difficult, right? Even for practicing devotees, it's very difficult to follow this principle. So when a person can't follow this, he says, oh, this is impractical. It happened in the past in our movement. One particular, very exalted personality, he was not able to follow. It came to the light of everyone that he was not able to follow the principles. And then he said, he actually started criticizing Srila Prabhupada. Saying that this is not really practical. Prabhupada has given unnecessary this principle of no illicit sex. It's not possible by him. So that falls in the category of Shastra Vitam Utsrija. But unfortunately you'll find in Kali Yuga, as the Kali Yuga is progressing, the demonic people specially propagate with, extremely wonderful logic. They will propagate what is adharma to be dharma. It is also said in the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Dharma pravikshanti adharmagya aruna uttamasana. Those people, dharma pravikshanti, they will speak about dharma. Dharma pravikshanti adharmagya. Those who know only adharma, they will actually they will mount the high platform like Vyasasana, and they would speak about dharma. The only thing they know is adharma. And they would speak about dharma by sitting on Vyasasana or mounting the high seat. Vyasasana means a person who takes a high seat on the public stage and people are sitting and hearing him. So this is actually unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. As Kali Yuga progresses, there will be more and more such people propagating dharma, propagating adharma in the name of dharma. So Krishna is warning here that a person who acts whimsically, neglecting the rules and regulation of scriptures, is actually in a category of demons. This is a demoniac mentality. Krishna is concluding the demoniac nature with these verses. Srila Goswami also explains very beautifully in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Says, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatrikim Vidhim Vina Aikantikir Harir Bhakti Utpata Eva Kalpate. Bhakti, a person may be claiming to be performing devotional service. But that bhakti, if it is neglecting the rules and regulations given in the scriptures, Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi, Pancharatrikim, Vidhim Vina. If person is not following the vidhis given in the Shrutis, Smritis, Pancharatrika scriptures, and he is claiming to be doing bhakti, Rupa Goswami says, such bhakti is Ekantikir Harir Bhakti, Utpata Eva Kalpate. It only creates Utpata. It creates only nuisance in the society. That bhakti is not something, as we were discussing today morning, devotional service brings all auspiciousness and happiness in the life of a person who is practicing it. But a person who performs so-called bhakti, neglecting the rules and regulations of scriptures, creates nuisance in his own life and creates nuisance in lives of others. Because especially a person who is practicing devotional service and he's known in the society that he's actually a devotee, and he willfully neglects the shastras, the injunctions of these scriptures, then people tend to think maybe this is the standard of devotional service. Maybe this is what it is supposed to be. And this way creates more and more nuisance in the society. People start thinking, maybe devotees are supposed to be like this. This is the standard. I remember when the book, a small book was published on how an ideal temple should be from the ISKCON of Mumbai. In that, His Holiness Radhan Swami Maharaj had given some of the basic principles, what an ideal temple should be. So there he mentioned a very beautiful statement. He said, the standard of a temple or a community is judged not by the person who is following the highest standard, but it is understood that the community's standards or the temple standards are the standards which the person in the lowest rung is following, the person who is following minimum rules and regulations. That is considered the real standard of that temple. Why? Because people will not look who is following the highest standards. People will look, oh look, he's also part of this temple and he's doing this. So this is their standard of their temple. People will not look. This is general tendency, right? People will not see, oh, this is what they follow. You see, no, this is what they follow. So it's actually very, very crucial. Krishna, when he's speaking these particular words, it is to attain the ultimate perfection of human life. Because ultimate perfection of human life is not going to be possible when a person acts whimsically. If one is not able to follow principles, it's okay, there's nothing wrong in it. People have different conditioning. And gradually, if they are sincere and honest, they can actually rise to the platform, ideal platform. But not that you start justifying. Oh, whatever, it's okay. It's all right. No, that attitude is wrong. Even in our Krishna consciousness, when new people come to our society, we don't discourage them. If somebody says, well, I have habit of meat eating, I have a girlfriend, I've been living with her for a couple of years, we have 2 children, we are not married yet. We don't say, just get out of here. Don't come to our temple. You are a fallen, you are a sinful person. No. We encourage them. No problem, please come. And you may, not that if such a person is sitting in the assembly, you say, oh, illicit sex is okay. No, you still say, meat eating, gambling, intoxication, illicit sex is not acceptable. You cannot attain perfection of life. But when it comes to personally deal with people, you show love and affection to them. What is the real purport of this particular injunction is that when it comes to To principles, we don't compromise the principles. But when it comes to accommodate, we accommodate everyone. The Vedic culture is all accommodating. It accommodates even the outcast. Varnashram system is not only Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras who actually follow the rules and regulations of Varnashram. It also accommodates outcasts, lower than Shudras. They accommodate those people also. The person, no matter whatever conditioning a person is having, is accommodated in Varnashram system. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in Harinam Chintamani that a person who is actually outside of Varnashram, he may be accepted in Krishna consciousness movement among the devotees as Shudra. If he is willing to follow the rules and regulation, he starts following the rules and regulation of Shudra, because Shudras are the one who have minimum regulations. Minimum. But that's not the ultimate expectation from the person. You start here, but gradually you try to raise your standard. I remember in Krishna consciousness, if you try to just see how all of us we come to Krishna consciousness. Initially you come, oh Prabhu, just come and eat prasad. Right? Come and eat prasad, that's it. No need to chant, nothing. Prabhu, I can't come in the time for lecture. No problem, don't come for the lecture, come for prasad. The person starts coming for prasad, starts liking. It actually begins with prasad, right? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a beautiful example. He gives the example of balam rice. Balam rice is considered one of the best qualities of rice. Of course, nowadays we don't get to hear. All we know is basmati rice, right? But one of the best qualities of basmati rice is called balam rice. So he gives example that there was a rich man and he had so much work at home that none of the servants would stay with him. The servants would come, they'd see so much work and they'd just run away in 2-3 days. So he was so much annoyed, he was so much tired of losing the servants. One day he told one of his friends, I'm so tired, I'm frustrated. None of the servants stay with me. So he said, you know what, I'll give you one trick. Then your servant will never leave you for the rest of your life. He said, okay, tell me, I'll follow that. He said, just hire a person for first 3 months. Don't give him any work. No work at all. Then just feed him balam rice, cooked with ghee. Lot of ghee in it. He said, then after 3 months, give him as much as what you want. He will never leave you. He said, really? Let me try. So he got one servant. First 3 months, didn't give him any work. He would cook balam rice every day and the servant would be so happy, oh, no work at all. And I'm getting such pile of rice with ghee. He's eating. And after 3 months, he says, now, we have some work. We start adding more and more. The servant gets annoyed. You are giving so much work now. He said, no, work is there. Initially there was no work. Now the work is there, so you have to do it. You are servant. Kept increasing. The servant said, I will go away. He said, it's your choice. Work is there, you have to do it. So he kept increasing, and then one day servant said, I'm going away. It's too much. You are giving too much work. So he went away. But next day he came back. Master, how can I leave you? You have been so nice, you have been so kind. I can't leave you, So the Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives purport. He says, because the servant gets addicted to that rice and ghee. It's not that the master doesn't provide afterwards. The work is there, but he still provides that rice and ghee. The person is eating that. But he's addicted to it now. Now, even if he wants to leave, he cannot leave. So similarly, in our Krishna Hanuman, that's what we do, right? Prabhu, come, eat prasad. Eat prasad. The person keeps eating prasad. And then you say, do some service, And the person started with him, now you should, chant Hare Krishna at least little bit, 1 or 2 rounds. Start chanting. You should follow 4 regular principles. No meditating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. And the person can't follow. No, it's no problem. Take your time. 6 months, 1 year. After 2 years, you start following. And after 2 years, person comes, Prabhu, I quit. I quit even onion garlic today. He gets so excited, right? You tell him, no onion garlic. But all begins with, just come and eat prasad. When the person starts following all the rules and regulations, then you keep adding more and more. If you want to take Harinam Diksha, then you have to avoid tea, coffee, and the list goes on and on and on. Right? I remember in one of the devotees' home in Chicago, I read, he had put a big quote from Srila Prabhupada. It says, if you do not rise before sunrise, you are not serious about Krishna consciousness. Now you don't tell anyone from the first day, right? Oh, you're not getting up before sunrise? You're not serious about Krishna. No. Get up, no problem. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, get up, no problem. Just chant Hare Krishna. But all begins slowly and gradually. So this is the way the matured devotees or Vaishnavas, they extend the compassion. Just because somebody cannot follow rules and regulations of the scriptures, not that such a person is condemned. He's fallen but not condemned. And the whole idea is to help the person to uplift his consciousness by giving him love, affection, and inspiring him. Because we should know one thing, that nobody can follow the rules and regulations just because there is a law. You can pass so many laws, you can pass so many rules and regulations, but people will not be inspired to follow. Just imagine, in society you can create fear. The law enforcement agency can be very strict. And people out of fear will follow the rules and regulations. But when there is love, when people love their administrators, the person who is actually ruling the country, people love him. They naturally want to follow rules and regulations that are. So in Krishna consciousness, a devotee understands all the rules set by Krishna are for our benefit. It's not that Krishna is trying to exploit us. It's not that these rules and regulations that we hear from the scriptures are for depriving us from happiness. No. The rules and regulations don't deprive us from happiness. They enhance, they made us experience the higher happiness. Once a person came to Srila Prabhupada. He said, Swamiji, there was a press reporter, he said, Swamiji, why you have so many rules and regulations in your society? Restrictions, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, so many rules and regulations you have. Prabhupada said, actually these rules are meant to make you free. And the person couldn't understand. He said, where is freedom? You are putting so many rules. We are born free. This country is meant for people who are free. And Prabhupada said, actually these rules are meant to make you free. The person couldn't understand. He said, no, where is the freedom? I want to be free. Whatever I want to, I should be able to do. As Krishna says here, whimsical. No? Vardate kamakaraka. Prabhupada said, kamakaraka is whimsical behavior. So he said, no, we want to be free. Why we should be following rules and regulations? Prabhupada said, yes, that freedom is also freedom. But that freedom is freedom of a football. Football is also free, right? You see in the football stadium, when they play. Football is not bound by chains and ropes. No, it's free. Free to be kicked by everyone. One person kicks him from this side, another person kicks him from this side. So football is free to be kicked. Similarly, a person who thinks he wants to be free without any rules and regulation, he's seeking the freedom of football. To be kicked by anyone. And Prabhupada explained to this press reporter, he said, if you are addicted to these activities, you are not free. Because For example, if a person is addicted to smoking, the cigarette prices go higher. You are obliged to pay whatever. If a person is addicted to drinking, liquor, driving under influence, if you are caught DUI, you can have big ticket. And if you're caught twice or thrice, you can even lose your license. Right? So it's costly affair. And you are addicted. Even the prices go up, you have to pay. So it's not freedom. Prabhupada was explaining. He said if you drink milk, you don't get addicted to drinking milk. There's no addiction in milk. If you're eating chapati, if you're eating rice, there's no addiction in it. But if you drink liquor, if you smoke, if you break the regular principles, that's addiction. And it's harmful for you. So Prabhupada said, actually we are free. We are following the regular principles, but we are free. We don't have any addictions. So, this is the significance of following these rules and regulations. Right? Krishna is saying, a person who is whimsical, he cannot attain perfection of life. Because a person who is whimsical means his heart is not pure. And we're discussing today in the morning. Manorathena sati dhavato bhai. A person who is situated on the chariot of his mind, he's uncontrolled. An uncontrolled person cannot have purified mind. And Prabhupada says, if there is no pure mind, where is the question of attaining the stage of real happiness? Real happiness means going back home, back to Godhead, going back to Krishna. That is real happiness. The real happiness is not continuing in the cycle of birth and death. Even if a person gets a chance to go to heavenly planets and live, a happy life of sense gratification. The real happiness is not also even attaining Brahma Loka, where a person can live for very, very long time. A life full of sense enjoyment. Even that is not the perfection of life. The real perfection of life is to relish the loving relationship with the devotees of Krishna, to engage in devotional service of Krishna. That is real happiness. In the contaminated stage, it's very difficult to appreciate how there can be happiness in devotional service. People in this world have different ideas or different perception of happiness. A person who is on the very gross platform, for him, the happiness is sense enjoyment. But again, even in that gross platform, there are three varieties: goodness, passion, and ignorance. A person who is in the goodness platform, he thinks following the rules and regulation to attain the gross enjoyment is the goal of life. That is real happiness. A person in the mode of passion thinks following the rules and regulation which are convenient to me, to attain sense enjoyment is the goal of life. And a person who is in the mode of ignorance, he thinks miseries, the self-torture as real happiness of life. But if you go a little higher, there are people who consider selfless service to the society, to other living beings, to human beings or other living entities, as happiness, as a source of happiness. And Srila Prabhupada was actually fond of giving example of Mahatma Gandhi. He lived a life of selfless service to the country. But was he happy to the end of his life? If you see the life of Mahatma Gandhi, he was one of the most miserable persons in India after especially independence. Whole life he fought for independence, right? But if you see his life, he was the most miserable person after independence. So after attaining the goal for which he dedicated his life, he was miserable. So Prabhupada says, there is no scope of happiness even in the so-called selfless service to humanity, to society, to nation. It will not bring you happiness. It's not possible. That's not the platform of real happiness. The platform of real happiness is not even when a person starts studying scriptures and acquiring more and more jnana, knowledge. If knowledge was really happiness, all the children going to school would be the most happy people in this world, right? You ask any child, do you like to go to school? Do you like to study? They might like some subject. I remember in school days we had, in 8th grade, we had one particular teacher, school teacher. He used to teach us 2 subjects, geography and history. Both tough subjects, right? And as far as I remember, in our classroom, nobody liked geography and history. In geography, they used to call it, in Sindhi, there is a word called jigar fati. That means your heart shatters simply by the word of geography. You know. And history, of course, you have to remember so many numbers. You know. Who did what nonsense in which year, you have to remember all that, right? Prabhupada called history as, Prabhupada was so precise in using the word. He said, history is nothing but chronological nonsense. So precise. They teach you chronological nonsense in the schools. He says, it's not important. You don't have to study history. You know. So in our classroom, nobody liked those 2 subjects. But this teacher was so intelligent. I'm just telling you how you can find real happiness. This is even natural in children. So, he was actually a Brahmana. This teacher was from actually a Brahmanical family. And he would study scriptures at home. So in the classroom, I remember in the 8th grade, he never discussed anything about geography or history. He never taught us those subjects in the classroom. As soon as he would come to the classroom, he would start narrating stories from Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam. That's all he would do. And children, all the children in the classroom loved his class. They would be eagerly looking forward for that class. But he had a condition. He would give a lot of homework in history and geography. And anyone who did not finish the homework, of course, in those days, children would get beating on the hand with stick, right? We used to get beating. He would never give beating. The only punishment is, the day you do not do the homework, you have to stand outside the classroom. You cannot be in the classroom. And he will tell the stories. So nobody wanted to be outside of his class. And therefore, though he never taught history and geography in the classroom, none of the children ever failed in history and geography because they would do their homework. Other subjects they may or may not do it, but in that they would definitely do their homework just to hear the stories. The narration about Krishna's pastimes. So jnana is also not the real stage of happiness. The real stage of happiness is hearing Krishna Katha, hearing about Krishna's glories. That is real happiness. And this we can understand from this particular example. Even children love to hear that. Krishna's glories, Krishna's pastimes. So if we want to attain that real stage of happiness, the only key is we have to purify our heart. Our heart must be purified from all the contaminations. And how our heart can be purified? Not by behaving whimsically, but by following the rules and regulations laid down by the previous acharyas. Shastra Vidhi, what the scriptures describe, what is the word of or instructions of Krishna. If we follow that, Shastra Vidhi, then there will be purification of the heart. And when the heart is purified, then only there is a possibility of attaining the real stage of happiness. I think this is some and substance of this particular verse. If Anyone has any question you may ask?
As you were describing the position of the atheist,
Mm.
taking a position of the theist, I
Mm.
just very recently had someone reveal to me that they are a practicing Satanist. And they were saying this as if this is a religion, and they were saying that they were so proud of the Satanists battling the Christians, and was wanting me to look upon it as an honorable thing, that they were somehow protecting humanity, and it just sounded so twisted.
And well, as Kali Yuga progresses, such instances will become more and more prominent and common. I remember once, I think, who was narrating this particular incident, that in early 70s there was one particular famous personality, very famous personality, and people would follow him, people would be, coming in his gatherings in thousands. And because that was the time when a lot of, so-called cults and all were flourishing a lot. So there was one particular person in America, he was actually an American person only, and he was very famous. And somehow that at certain time, his mother, that person's mother, exposed him that he was doing some nonsense. So devotees one day, walking, having early morning walk with Srila Prabhupada, they were telling him, Prabhupada, this particular person, and Prabhupada knew about this person because he would, sometimes devotees would discuss about what he was teaching and all. And mostly he would teach all rubbish, no scriptural substance. So, I think this was told by Dinabandhu Prabhu. He was saying that, so Prabhupada was walking, and that morning Prabhupada was talking about abortions. That how the abortions are becoming more and more common, and mothers are killing children in the womb. And then somehow the topic of this person came, and Prabhupada was actually very angry at this person because he was misguiding so many people. So some devotee said, Prabhupada, his mother has finished him. She has exposed him in public. So Prabhupada, because he was talking about the abortion should not be done, mothers are supposed to be, loving and kind. Prabhupada chuckled for a moment and turned and told devotee, he should have finished him in the womb. Because he did so much damage to the society. So, but of course Prabhupada didn't really mean that the abortion should be supported. But yes, it's actually the reality. Such people, in Mahabharata, of course, one may feel that how such thing can be supported, but when Duryodhana was born, Vidura actually told Dhritarashtra that you should abandon this son of yours. He didn't tell him to kill him, he said you should abandon this son. Disconnect him from that royal heritage. Because if you don't do it, then all your other 99 sons will surely be dead along with your whole dynasty. Because his horoscope indicated that this person is going to be most vicious and inimical towards the God and Vaishnavas. But Dhritarashtra somehow that couldn't abandon. He had developed too much attachment to all the sons. So that's true. But as the Kali Yuga progresses, we will have more and more such people becoming famous, because in Kali Yuga, the general population is also not very much inclined to Krishna consciousness. They are actually more or less inimical towards God. So when people become inimical towards God, then they are guided by a person who's powerful and inimical towards God. As Srila Prabhupada explains, quoting from Bhagavatam, Andha yatha andhair upaniyamana. The blind is leading other blind men. So people in general are actually blind, they don't know the real purpose of human life. So one blind man takes the role. Oh, I know. You should all follow me. They are anyway blind, so they cannot know who's blind, who's not. Just because person says, I know, you should follow me, they start following him. So yes, it will be becoming actually more and more prominent as Kali Yuga progresses. And therefore it's our duty to get out of this world, this material existence, as soon as possible. We don't want to wait for till Kalki comes to this world. The life will be unbearable in this world.
Adding the Balam race, Srila Prabhupada felt his disciple, servants, the first class race, but the servants has to motor race only.
Sorry?
The servants has to motor race only because they were not able to, they like motor race only actually. So
They like what?
motor race, motor.
Motorize. Aja.
So in Srila Prabhupada Leela it's Prabhupada wanted to feed the first class rice to them, but still they wanted like a Babuji, we don't want this first class rice. We are okay with the motor race. So
I remember even in New Vrindavan, devotees asked Prabhupada, can we eat oats? Especially oats. People say this is very healthy. Prabhupada says, you eat, don't offer to Krishna. People like sometimes eating oats, right? Prabhupada said that's a very low quality grain. It's not to be offered to Krishna. Similarly, people like brown rice, right? But that's also inferior quality of rice. It's not. People may think healthy because they spoil their digestion system by eating all kinds of nonsense in this country, right? Eat all kinds of garbage and they think, oh, this is healthy, but it's not really healthy. It's healthy for people who have really spoiled their system. So Prabhupada was very particular about what is to be offered to the deities, and of course Prabhupada said we don't eat anything that we can't offer to Krishna, right? But in New Vrindavan, devotee was insisting, he said, you may eat it but don't offer to Krishna. So yeah, people feel more and more inclined to even foodstuffs, become actually, as Kali Yuga progresses, these foodstuffs become even unavailable. Rice, basmati rice, all these categories will disappear. Somehow that we are fortunate, it's still available. The fruits will disappear. The Bhagavatam describes, the fruits will be only the seeds. There will be no pulp outside, just imagine. And they will become, seed will also become so tiny. So when we think how that is going to be possible, the demons try to manipulate the food, right? They are doing all these hybrid and exposing the seed to different kinds of radiation to manipulate it. And that will actually make all the seeds and fruits and all varieties of fruits disappear from the surface of earth. It will happen. It's inevitable. In Kali Yuga, as Kali Yuga progresses, everything will disappear. Even the rivers will disappear. Most of the pious rivers will disappear from the surface of earth. So,
it's like yesterday's topic continuation, bro.
huh?
Yesterday's topic continuation seems like I'm going to see that.
Yeah. So any further questions? I think that therefore it's most crucial that we sincerely practice Krishna consciousness, chant Hare Krishna, and follow the regular principles and get out of this material existence. Thank you very much.
Hare
Srila Prabhupada ki.